Life is beautiful when you have big dreams, especially when those dreams come true. There are few people in this world who are able to see their lives through their beautiful eyes and walk difficult paths with their courageous feet. Today, we present to you an extraordinary story about a man with unbelievable dreams and immense courage. He takes us from a small village in Nepal to Mount Everest, the top of the world. Mr. Sudarshan Gautam, a Nepalese Canadian, a husband, a father of 2 children, who as a young boy from a village of Rameshap in Nepal, had high hopes. He had countless interests, particularly in sports and science, and he hoped to become a political leader, even though having such dreams was not very common in the village life in Nepal. In June 1994, a tragic accident turned his life upside down, and his life was never the same again. One day, he was flying a kite on a rooftop in Kathmandu, Nepal, when visiting his relatives, a common activity for children his age, when suddenly his kite got stuck on the electric wires overhead. While attempting to release the kite, he was severely injured by an electric shock of 11,000 volts. Both of his hands got burned and he fell unconscious on the ground. Following this tragic event, no one believed that he would survive, but luckily, he did. The unfortunate consequence was that he lost both of his arms. The doctors had to amputate both of his arms, and he spent almost 1 year regaining his normal health. After this accident, despite Sudarshan being a good student in school, his friends would make fun of him. They teased him about the difficulties he would face without arms. How would he play with his friends? How would he write, eat, or take a bath? His schoolmates blamed the accident on bad karma. They said that he must have done something terrible to deserve such a life. Nepal is predominantly composed of Hindus, and in the Hindu religion, people place strong faith in such beliefs and traditions. People in his community used to talk badly to his parents, causing them to almost lose hope. They were very worried about their son's future. Not just them, but as a young boy, every villager wondered how he was going to deal with his day-to-day life without arms. Unlike everyone in his life, Sudarshan neither looked back nor did he regret what happened to him. He looked at his new life as a gift. He became bolder and more assured of himself. He graduated from school, and he even received a university degree in commerce by writing with his feet. Sudarshan was also a student leader in the Nepal Commerce Campus. He thinks that education is the most powerful asset, so he learned computer education by using a normal computer. He even learned how to drive a standard car. He demonstrated this in Kathmandu, becoming the first person in South Asia to drive a standard car without any arms. He became a good example for people who lost hope in their lives, and he encouraged them not to give up on their dreams, a teaching he received from his father, Shiva Gautam. Sudarshan also started a foundation for physically challenged people to assist those with the same struggles that he faced. He has been responsible for numerous social projects in Nepal. For his ongoing leadership, he received countless awards from the community. This made headlines in many national media sources. After driving a car with his feet, he became popular in Nepal. Sudarshan's new dream was to set his feet on the top of Mount Everest. He wanted to be the first man to climb Mount Everest with no arms. He began training in rock climbing in Nepal. In 2005, as part of his training to climb Mount Everest, he climbed Mount Yella Peak. He did this without prosthetic arms and without oxygen. People did not believe that he could climb mountains without his arms, and some even laughed at him. Like always, he proved them wrong, ascending Mount Yala at 3 a.m. on August 24, 2005, with an expedition team led by the fastest climbing record holder, Pemba Dorje Sherpa. He received enormous support from the government of Nepal and the United Nations in Nepal for his successful summit of Mount Yala Peak. Sudarshan was pleased. However, his main goal was to climb Mount Everest. But despite his growing popularity, he could not receive enough financial and moral support. In 2006, Sudarshan moved to Canada with his former wife for a better future. In 2008, Ambika, his wife, gave birth to his son, Arshan. Attending school, raising a young child, and job searching proved to be very difficult for the couple. It was not an easy task for his wife Ambika to support Sudarshan and their infant son, but they came to Canada for a better future. He faced such ups and downs that he couldn't even express in words, but his feet never got tired, and his dreams never stopped growing. The couple worked many odd jobs, but finally gathered enough money to start their own small business in car detailing. Following which, they were able to start a family restaurant in Bragg Creek, Alberta. Sudarshan had visited over 60 countries, participated in adventurous sports such as skydiving, but he remembered his one dream before he moved to Canada, and regardless of all the hardships he faced, he never let himself forget it. His dream to summit Mount Everest was a dream he wasn't going to give up on. He started to make a plan with the climbing team he had previously worked with and started preparing to climb Mount Everest. Financial support was a huge barrier to his childhood dream coming true. At first, he was able to land a few interested sponsors. However, people lost interest as they doubted his ability. They weren't willing to invest in a man they were sure would lose his life. They weren't willing to lose their money. Simply put, no one believed that a man without arms could climb Mount Everest. Finally, he sold his family restaurant in Calgary and applied for a loan in Nepal. His dream cost Sudarshan over $175,000 US, as he needed a Sherpa team that was 4 times bigger than what's required for a regular climber. He was able to borrow enough money to climb Mount Everest. Then, in January of 2013, his family went back to Nepal with high hopes for training and climbing. But how was he going to pull this off? He hired Mr. Pemba Dorje Sherpa and his team to support his Everest expedition. Before he went to climb Everest, he climbed Mount Ramdung in Dolka, Nepal, which is 5,525 meters high. This gave him some confidence as his team returned successfully. Following this expedition, Sudarshan's team of 18 people reached Everest Base Camp at the end of April 2013. Sudarshan and his team completed a week of ice climbing training there at the base camp. To him, it was the greatest moment of his life.
This year, the most daring strides are being made by another Nepalese Canadian. 32-year-old Sudarshan Gautam lost both his arms as a teenager when his kite hit high-voltage lines. With the help of extra Sherpas using ropes to balance him, he's determined to reach the top.
क्याम्प 3 सम्म आइपुगेका छौँ अहिले हामी होइन सबैको टिम
घाँटी सुकेछ
साथले अब तिमी अगाडि अगाडि दुम्पिहाल्यो साथले हाल्यो क्या अनि अब
भाइ यार तपाईँ मान्छे खतरा यार साँच्चै
As other climbers gave up along the way, they looked at Sudarshan with disbelief and doubt. There was something inside this extraordinary man that was pushing him to continue climbing. He remembered all of the people that made fun of him, all of the people that pointed fingers at him, and all of the people that doubted his dreams. They were his motivation. Finally, he was able to climb to the top of the world, the summit of Mount Everest, on the 19th of May 2013. Sudarshan Gautam became the first person in the world to summit Everest without any arms.
Climbing Mount Everest is a near impossible task. One man recently reached the top, and his story is truly inspirational. The male from Calgary is a double amputee. He lost both of his arms as a teenager when a kite he was flying struck a power line. Obviously not one to be deterred, the man trained for several years to accomplish his goal of reaching the summit of Mount Everest. All of the hard work paid off. He has been declared the first armless person to make it to the top without using prosthetic limbs. He stated, "I'm feeling proud today to step on the top of Mount Everest at 10:55 a.m. This is due to the inspiration of you all, the supporters. I have succeeded to fulfill my dream, and I am very happy."
Accomplishment to tell you about tonight, one that's linked to the 60th anniversary of the first ascent of Mount Everest. Recently, a young climber reached the summit, facing an enormous challenge that will amaze you. Today, he talked to reporter Petty Fong.
So it was very nice moment once I reached on the top.
Although he fulfilled his dream of reaching the top of the world, descending the mountain was another challenge in itself. When descending, one of his team members passed away. To this day, there are hundreds of bodies of climbers left behind on Everest. After he summited Everest, Sudarshan received the Hall of Fame Canada Award in 2014, the Compelling Calgarians Award, and countless other awards. His organization, known as Leg is My Arms Foundation, was also awarded for better serving his community. Sudarshan also received a congratulatory letter from premiers, ministers, and the Prime Minister of Canada.
Measure his body. That's why our mission is fair.
In 2014, Sudarshan Gautam received an offer from a film company, Rekha Films, to play a leading role in a film called Himmatwali. In the same year, this movie achieved high ratings in Nepal. After watching this film, many people changed their thinking about the disabled. Sudarshan is the first person ever to play a leading role in a commercial film without both arms. He said that climbing Mount Everest is just a once-in-a-lifetime achievement. But he has many more challenges every moment of his life. He lives alone. He does all his daily activities by himself. He cooks, plays cards, showers, and irons his clothes by himself. He can even thread a needle with his feet. Sudarshan is a man of high hopes and dreams. He always wants to do something extraordinary. Being the first person to climb Mount Everest without both arms, Sudarshan feels that he wants to contribute more towards our own country and society. As a citizen of Canada, by climbing Canada's highest mountain, he also wants to encourage the disabled Canadians to spread the message, don't lose hope, and never give up. He wants to climb Mount Logan to raise money for charity for physically challenged people who live in underdeveloped countries who have little to no assistance. Sudarshan continues to inspire many able and disabled people around the world to successfully and positively face their physical challenges. In every interview, Sudarshan never forgets to share his motto: disability is not inability. He has his own foundation named Sudarshan Gautam Disability Foundation Canada. If you want to support his mission, donations are accepted. Tax receipts are available through Sudarshan Gautam Disability Foundation Canada.